Hey folks and friends, welcome home. I'm Madison Canary, your sour beer queer, and I have with me the specialist of special guests, Garrett Onifer, my partner in life, in crime, in all things.
In drinking.
And drinking, definitely in drinking. Although that's not true, I tend to drink him under the table, let's be honest. I am really excited to have Garrett on and this special edition. I've been getting really into this whole like chit-chatting situation. It's nice to have other people on camera with me. And Garrett has been behind the scenes since I started Sour Beer Queer. So he was actually the one that when I first brought some beer home and wanted to show him all the delicious sour beers I bought, he's the one who told me to film it. He also is the one that does all of the editing and has recently also been handling a lot of the posting. So I could not be doing Sour Beer Queer without the Gare Bear.
Yeah, sorry about the editing.
Sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's good. Garrett, what beer are we drinking today?
Today we are drinking the Mikkeller Passion Pool, which is a sour beer, or more of a Berliner Weiss type style that you turned me on to, because prior to you, my realm of beer was Coronas and Blue Moons and Shock Tops and Coors Light. So this was something that we just kind of gravitated toward, but tried out, and I really loved it. So,
why did we try it out?
I think we went to Teru and got the passion. They had their passion fruit, and then we saw this at our local distributor. So
I mean, that right there, we're going to go a little out of order, because that right there tells you how friendly this beer is. So at this point, I knew he wanted Shock Top, and I knew he liked Blue Moon. So I knew he likes weedy and fruity. And when I exposed him to Frush Brewery Teru's Passion Fruit Frush, and then transferred over to this one, that's because both of them are really friendly. They're both very sweet. They have a lot of fruit in them, especially if you like passion fruit. They are definitely girly beers.
Wow. Agreed.
So that kind of fast forwards to you, but that's okay. We still have plenty of good stuff ahead. So this is Mikkeller's Passion Pool. Mikkeller is a pretty cool brewery. They are actually based in Belgium, but they also have a brew room here in San Diego. So Passion Pool, this one specifically, was actually brewed in San Diego. I really love their artwork. It's very unique. It's really kind of fun and different. It looks like a man sitting in a pool of passion fruit.
Passion fruit goodness. Passion
fruit pool, if you will.
If you will, a pool of.
As it were.
Yeah, amazing.
Heretofore, a pool of passion. Much like our life together. Just a pool of passion.
Just a pool of it.
So this says that it's a Goza style with passion fruit and sea salt. That is a common beginner mistake, because Goza and Berliner Weiss are both brewed in very similar styles, and both have a lot of the sweet and then salty notes to them. So, well done. Well done.
I'm learning.
Let's crack these open and see how they're going. Oh, wait. First we must highlight the drinking horn. It was just
the only way to drink a beer.
Only way to drink a beer. It was just Garrett's birthday last Sunday, and I got him this drinking horn because I'm the best girlfriend ever.
It's true.
I found this one on Amazon. It's Norse Tradesman. They do actual drinking horns, or then they do like more of this like cup situation. I thought this was much more logical. He wanted an actual horn. I just personally pictured myself, if I had a horn, walking around a party all night being like, when can I set my fucking drink down? So I got him the proper cup. What have you been thinking so far? Would you prefer the horn? What's your experience?
I like the mug. I like that I can set it down and not think about it. I think the horn has it's definitely more of like a throwback and like very old school. I think it's cool in the proper setting, right? But for general usage, I mean, I'm just using this around the house. This is perfect. I love it.
Good.
The first sip. I know.
Is this even in the...
I don't think so.
Okay.
What this is, if it isn't, is leftover birthday decorations. If you can't see it, sucks for you.
Oh.
Cold beer is the best.
First sip, cold beer. So good.
You gonna share or okay?
No. I'm just gonna
Thought I was just sitting here.
sit over here and drink my beer. Just like every other night of our relationship. What?
Nothing.
What?
I think she gypped me on the pour.
Oh, excuse me. I did no such thing. That was halvesies. Halvesies.
Cheers.
Just like our relationship.
That's right.
So let's get some nose going here. Don't mind him.
I cheated.
He's uncultured.
It's just so delicious.
It smells like passion fruit cream to me. That's what's always surprising to me about this passion fruit is that it has this like creamy, almost like it's mixed with cream. As far as I know, it is not. I don't think there's any lactose. Ingredients: water, barley, wheat malt, passion fruit, salt, hops, and yeast. So there's no lactose in it, but it definitely has the texture and also the smell of having lactose in it. The coloration is pretty typical of a Goza style, so it's going to be lighter on the bottom, a little brighter on the top, with lots and lots of carbonation.
Yeah, you can see the color. It's got a nice light grain with a nice dark interior.
Okay, what was your palate experience of this passion pool?
It's got a little, like, to me it's got that hint of a sour. Like, it's kind of like putting a little bit of a sour candy in your mouth, where initially you get a little bit of a bite, and then for me it finishes not sweet candy wise, but it finishes really light for me because I drink girl beer.
So what was your first experience? So when I first was like, sour beer, babe, and we got to this one, what is it that you feel like maybe makes it drinkable when you're actually into something like Blue Moon or Shock Top? What is it that transfers over? What is it that you enjoyed about the palate? Like,
I think, like everything, it's relative. So I think when we first went to Teru, or first went to, it was probably Teru because you love Teru. Now, formerly Teru, now just the brewery part 2.
True forever.
Yeah. We got a flight, and I think it was probably one of the more, if not the most friendly on that flight. And so out of the options there, it was the easiest to drink out of those. And so that's where I would gravitate to. And so it was one of those that if a Shock Top or a Blue Moon were there, would I have gravitated to that? I might have in the moment, but those weren't the options. So this is the one that... Shut up. Don't shut up. Don't ever shut up. Never tell your lady to shut up. That works.
Passion pool for when you can't find a Blue Moon.
The point is, she wants me to come back on the show repeatedly. I just think out of all the options, it was the more friendly of them and more the sweet tooth, and that's where I gravitate.
You do have a huge sweet tooth.
Huge sweet tooth.
Yeah. You do also really love Sour Patch Kids and such things.
You've
eaten a whole bag of them today.
I mean, it took me 3 days.
3 days. 2 days. I didn't believe him. So my experience of this beer is personally, I get a really strong sting in the beginning. So the effervescence, like the carbonation, hits my tongue and definitely registers as very spicy, very effervescent. As it rolls towards the back of my tongue, I get a little more of the barley and wheat. I don't get the passion fruit. If I were to maybe ask anything more of this beer, which honestly it's a delicious beer, but if I were to ask anything more of this beer, personally what I would ask them is, can I get more passion fruit flavor? Now, one reason I think that we're not getting it is that, from what I can tell, they use actual passion fruit. So they use, 6.7% of actual passion fruit, which I respect. I respect that they're not pumping it full of sugar and passion fruit juice and fillers and all that bullshit.
Some sort of concentrate.
I really respect that they're giving me like true passion fruit, and so I recognize that that means that you're not going to get the like strong flavor that you would if you were using something that is sugary and fake and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I bet the tartness comes from the fact that it's a natural passion fruit and not some from concentrate or, processed.
Well, and also just that lack of like overwhelming. You don't taste passion fruit flavor. You just get passion fruit. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
not like eating something that's cherry flavored.
Right.
It's eating a cherry. So I really respect that. I respect that they're giving us the organic taste instead of the artificial flavor.
But I agree. I think maybe the sweetness of the passion fruit of passion fruit, or what we attribute to passion fruit, to where it's definitely a more distinct flavor instead of kind of the tartness, might translate a little bit better. But
and then it's definitely dry and salty on the finish. So what is really funny right now is I'm catching myself doing a thing that is now being brought to my attention. So I just started following this chick on TikTok. Her name is not Jennifer Garner. Shout out, because you're rad. She is a poly-bi, like very just like open about it chick that I thoroughly enjoy her little rants and musings, considering we have a lot in common. And she did this video yesterday about common bisexual tropes, or like common bisexual like stereotypes. And one of them is that you can never sit the right way.
straight.
Could never sit straight. And I noticed that I try to do these videos like cross-legged, like being, and I can't. I have to have a knee up. I can't do those things. I can't be heteronormative and straight in my sitting. I can't. Which translates me to, babe, how has it been being with a queer woman in your first big boy relationship and your first time with a queer woman?
I don't appreciate the downput on the big boy relationship part. I thought we'd oogle over girls more than we do.
You thought we'd ogle over girls more than we do?
Oogle.
Oogle? Is that like Googling?
It's totally like
you
Googling.
Thought we'd Google girls
more? We thought
more
we'd
often?
Google and then oogle and then ogle girls more.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But what happens is I make a comment and then I'm not allowed to make the comment. She can make the comment, I guess, but I'm not allowed to make a comment.
Rude.
That's how I feel.
Well, I honor your feelings, but first of all, you can do anything you want. You're not allowed to do anything. It's just advisable for your survival. And then second of all, when have I ever stopped you? Like, if you go on and on about it, yeah, sure. But like, when have I ever stopped you or like not appreciated with you when you appreciate someone?
There has been a time or two. But that might be the one, if only, negative mark. The rest of the time it's been fantastic.
Okay, so what's something queer specific that has been fantastic? Because that is a queer specific thing to not working. Right.
No, and I was thinking about that too, because I was just going to say that our relationship is very heteronormative. It is very conforming. And there's not a lot of really queer aspects to our relationship, I feel. You've turned into a huge plant mom. You are obviously a cat mom. You're doing all those things, and I just feel like, I don't know, like it's been something that's existed on the perimeter, but I don't feel like it's really a main part of our relationship.
Interesting.
Not that it shouldn't be, but
okay. So how about your political side of things? Because that's where we get like our most quote-unquote trouble.
That is.
And yeah, so I feel that my politics are very informed by my queer identity, and your politics are not at all even thoughtful of what queer identity is.
Well, and it's interesting because, yeah, your political view is definitely, it's synonymous with a lot of other people in the queer community. And it's very much based around, really, to me, I view it as very much based around how are people feeling. Whereas I
want to talk about everyone's feelings all the time.
And poop.
I do. I want to talk about your poop, and I want to talk about your feelings.
But my views are feelings aren't as important as fairness across the board, and so that's where we get into a lot of issues, is which is more compassionate and which is not. Are you putting politics to poop now?
I just realized that when I said, what about my political beliefs, you said, you just care about everyone's feelings.
Yeah.
I had never directly correlated those two things before, and it works rather perfectly. I do care a lot about people's feelings.
A lot about feelings.
Especially when I'm thinking about, like, political needs and rights and those being protected.
Right.
Okay, and then what about the fact that now you use phrases like heteronormative?
So, again, my political views in the past and my actions in the past were never outright to be negative or to dissuade or to talk down to people. And I think that's really a big factor, is that when you're not a part of a community or not around a community, not that I perceive myself to be in and around the queer community significantly, but once you're starting to be made aware of things that do impact people, you either then have a choice to going, well, I don't give a shit, deal with it, or operate with a sense of compassion and how people are going to feel in that moment.
Caring about people's feelings.
But I don't necessarily feel like my behavior to a person or a group in interacting with them directly have to change the way that my political views are for the sake of my well-being, your well-being, my daughter's well-being, and the country's well-being. And so I don't think that they need to be exclusive. I think they can be together.
Well, I more mean the fact that I don't think before you met me and before we got into a relationship, you would have used a phrase like heteronormative.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, because you wouldn't, and this is where I'm saying, you say it's not part of our relationship, but I feel that we have actually spent not a lot of time, but we do spend time, and over the course of now 18 months,
Keep going. Keep talking.
Just like a Republican.
It's actually the Democrats that want to steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Well, you still
Steal
like a
from the
Democrat,
rich.
right?
You acted like a Democrat. No, but you're totally right, because I was not in that community and I was not impacted
I feel like I brought
or
a next
aware.
level of awareness to how you live your life.
I don't know about how I live my life, but at least mindful of something a little bit further outside of what was my bubble. And that's not to say that I was going out there to be discriminating or to be deliberately aggressive to people, but again, knowing that
You don't know what you don't know.
right, 100%.
You guys, y'all, folks, Garrett is possibly the straightest man that I know. So whereas previously in like the gender edition with Rendy, I was like, tell me about queer parts of your identity and your experience. I don't think that there would be anything about your experience.
Probably aren't any.
Yeah, you are the most gender conforming, most like basic man of basicness that I know.
What does that say about your bubble?
I have been surprised at my comfort level with some things. Now, there's a lot of things that I'm very much not comfortable with, but in our relationship, I have been very surprised by how fulfilling it has been for things to be, okay, that's not quite the right word, not fulfilling. How easy it has been for things to be so easy, but then also I would say that is one thing that I sometimes, quote unquote, enjoy the most about our relationship, is that it is so easy and predictable. And then that is also the thing that I will hate the most about our relationship, is that we're just like, I'm like, really, I'm falling into these tropes of, oh, well, he's a man, so. And that's one thing that I actually refuse on a personal level. I refuse to go, oh, well, he's a man, so. I don't think paring either side down, man, woman, or otherwise, I don't think paring people down to like, oh, well, they were born with the genitalia, so they can't help but be this. They can't help but be that. To me, that is akin to being like, oh, well, she's a Gemini. Don't get me wrong. I love reading astrology. I think it's interesting. I think it's funny. It can be informative. It can be whatever. Like sometimes I'll read it and be like, oh, wow, that was really spot on. That was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
But I would never like stab someone in the back and then be like, well, I'm a Gemini, so what'd you expect? Like, no, fuck that. That is you choosing to be the least possible denominator, the least common denominator of what you can be as a human, and you're using an excuse to get out of it. And I feel the same way about if I go to a friend and say like, hey, Garrett's doing this thing and it's really driving me crazy. And their response is, well, he's a man, so what do you expect? My answer is, I expect more. Because he's also a fucking human and he's also my partner in this world. And so if we're just going to fall into like, well, I'm a woman, I'm a man, this is what we do, that's not going to fly with me. So like as much as we are heteronormative in some of our roles, I also will never, until the day that I die, whether I'm with Garrett or anyone else, just sit back and go, well, he's a man, so he can't help it. Well, he's a man, so I should just let him get away with it. Well, he's a man, so. Just like I would never do that to myself. I would never just be like, well, I'm a woman, so I can just be emotional and irrational. It's like, no, I can still be logical and I can still be intelligent and I can still be rational with who I am in the world. So I expect the same on both sides. I expect better from both sides. And that's something that I sometimes get afraid of that we're going to fall into in our relationship of like, oh, well, you're just a man. So, and that's also one reason why there's certain things that I am so ardent about, like helping me clean, is that I don't like that whenever I tell anyone, oh, well, he didn't help me clean, I felt I was doing everything, they go, well, yeah, he's the guy, so what do you expect? And it's like, I fucking expect more of him because he's my partner. That's what I expect.
Yeah.
And I will never set that down. Like, at least not as long as we're both working full time. If that ever changes, then it'll change. But as long as we're both working full time, I will never just sit back and be like, well, yeah, of course I'm going to work harder at like keeping the home because I'm the woman. Like, no.
It's not a gender thing. It's an opportunity or an availability thing.
Yeah.
So I do think though there's some dispositions detailed to men and women. Like I do think there's a biological difference, there's a hormonal difference, and there's certain predispositions to a gender difference, a sex difference, and that's where maybe outside of my bubble, and that's just not something I've been ingrained with, especially around the queer community. But there are certain things that lend credence to that in terms of professions that people choose to go into, male and female. There's certain predominant and certain things that are focused. So I think there's a biological difference that drives certain choices that people have. That said, though, in a relationship, I actually love this another guy that we stumbled on. I don't know the guy's name on TikTok last night. Yeah, we watched TikTok. We talked about helping the wife in the home. And he goes, we need to get away from this mentality that it's the wife or the lady's job, that it's their job to do stuff around the home. It's like, no, you live there. You wear clothes. You need laundry. You eat food. You do dishes. You inhabit this space too, and need to also contribute to how it is presented to other people, to yourself, so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not walking out into a kitchen that's a bomb blew off, or walking in a living room that everything's in disarray, right? So I really appreciated the way he said it and how he said it, was that we need to move away from this terminology and this thought process that we're helping the wife. Now, the only caveat to that is what you talked about earlier, that if somebody wasn't working full time and they were spending more time at home and have more availability to, whether that's the man or the woman, I know stay at home dads, it's their job to kind of look after the home and the kids. That's not a gender thing. Again, it's an availability thing.
It's just agreed upon role. Yeah.
Right. Society over generations, that role has been historically a female role or a woman role or whatnot. And so that's where that behavior kind of, and that terminology kind of was created and then ingrained. So I think we as a society need to move away from helping the wife or helping the husband or helping whatever, away from, oh, the wife's in the kitchen or cleans inside and the husband does outside yard work or maintenance. Like, no, it's a joint venture in all aspects. So it requires joint effort in all aspects.
Yeah, it's like getting away from this idea of like, oh, are you babysitting tonight? No, I'm the dad. I'm just watching my children.
Right.
And being raised in like the Mormon community where the women stay at home, they do not work, the man goes to work. That phrase got thrown around so much. Like, oh, dad's babysitting tonight. nope, these are just my kids. I'm just being a dad. Like it's so weird that we get these concepts. And so I do love that now we are, as a culture, as a society, I think overwhelmingly having these conversations and bringing so much awareness to these things. And that's really, really awesome. And I have, as much as sometimes it is a struggle in our relationship that we see the world so differently, I have also really enjoyed this relationship, that we do learn a lot from each other, and I feel we do respect and appreciate each other. And
we're not just mirrors reflecting ourselves in the other person. There's been points of contention and points of disagreement where we've definitely come across it. But it's also a matter of how much you respect the other person and understand that they're not meaning harm by their thoughts or their beliefs. It's just the way that they've been programmed based on the stimulus around them in childhood. And we have both had very different upbringings, see the world very differently. And where that does, again, create those points of contention, it also creates a lot of opportunity for us to have dialogue and try to explain and understand a different way of thinking in a community that we would never have been a part of necessarily had the other person not shown up in each other's lives. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for Mikkeller Passion Pool.
Mikkeller Passion Pool, making one big pool of passion between Garrett and Madison. Very friendly. Drink it. Give it to your friends. Give it to your friends that like beer. Give it to your friends that don't like beer. Give it to your friends that like sour beer. Give it to your friends that don't like sour beer. It's amazing. You can get it down in San Diego at their brewery. You can also have it shipped to you. I got mine at High Times. Shout out, like I do everything else. But you can also find them, I imagine, at some liquor stores. They're not widely distributed, but they're pretty popular by now. So thank you so much for joining me for this special couples edition of the Sour Beer Queer. If you enjoyed it, please do like, subscribe. I review beers and release those reviews every Tuesdays and Fridays. Coming up very soon will actually be a sour beer haul. I am itching to get over to High Times and get me some fresh sour beers, so watch out for that. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.
Cheers.